Welcome! My name is Colleen Tauke and I'm a sewing specialist with Fons & Porter. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to apply an applique for the quilt that's called Skipping Hearts. For the pattern for this quilt, visit our website. Okay, and this one we are going to be using 5-inch squares of a print fabric and a matching 5-inch squares of background fabric consistent throughout the quilt. Now, if you look at this quilt, you'd say, checkerboard, very easy, but we also have applique. And if this is a beginning quilt for you, applique can be something that can be a little bit intimidating. But let's take away the fear and have some fun. In your pattern, you'll find a template for a heart. So we have, I've traced that onto a template plastic. You don't have to do this step, but it makes your tracing very consistent. So I have traced it onto template plastic, and I've actually marked it with the actual pattern name and what issue it came from. Because if I put this away later, then maybe I'll want to make another quilt using it. So we're going to use a paper-backed fusible material. Now for the instructions on using the various types of paper-backed fusible, follow the instructions that come with them, because they do have a little bit of variation between them. So we would take the template, lay it on to the paperback fusible, and trace around. You're finding that tracing with that template plastic, it makes it really a nice smooth line. Okay, now if we were to use the entire piece of fusible web like this, it will add a little bit of stiffness to our quilt. And if we're making a kid's quilt, we might want it to be more soft and cozy. So what we do is we call window fusing. So we're going to come in and leave about 1/4 inch of the fusible inside of our traced line. So just taking a scissors, we're going to make a snip and come in, and it doesn't have to be an exact amount, just an approximation. We're going to take away some of that fusible web so that our end product is a little more soft to the touch. So quickly just trim away the inside of the applique like that. Now we're going to take this and we're going to apply it to a print fabric. You'll see that all of the hearts on our quilt are made in a print. So to the back side of our print fabric, we're going to apply our paper-backed fusible. It has paper on both sides. We can tear away the one, separate them. This product is a little bit tacky, so we can actually come into our print fabric and place it where we want. This, and it stays in place, but just to make sure that it doesn't move while we're working with it, we put just a little bit of heat on there. And now it's the time where we are going to have the exact outer edge of our applique. We're going to be trimming it. A lot of times people will want to pick up a shorter blade scissor. If you were to pick up though the long ones that you have in your stash of tools, you'll get a smoother cut because you can make a long cut at once. That reduces the number of elbows, those little bobbles in your trimming of your applique. So just a long, smooth cut all the way around. This is your chance to, when you were tracing your applique, it may not have been perfectly smooth. This is your chance to make it look really nice. Almost as if it were die cut. And to the end, like this. Now we've created an applique that we can put on to the white background. Now you can just eye it by putting it on, or you can fold and figure out right where the center of your block is. Everyone has a different comfort zone of exactness. So what we're going to do is just simply fold it. Kind of reminds me of making paper snowflakes. But we're going to be opening that back up, and then you'll just have really light lines for guides. And so then we're going to remove the paperback fusible. One nice piece, if we can get it off. There we go. And we can place our applique. A heart is an easy thing because it has a center, top and bottom. And you could probably eye it side to side, or you could measure, but This is a tacky type surface on this type fusible web, so we can hold it in place. We can come over and just lightly adhere it with some heat. Now it's in place, but if this quilt's going to be washed a lot, we're going to want to edge finish these hearts. So in order to do that, we have some options. Your machine probably does a variety of different stitches. One simple way to finish, and this would give a more informal finish to the edge of your applique, is to simply come in and do a straight stitch about 1/8 inch away from the cut edge. As the quilt is washed, it may fray a little bit, but it'll give it that more informal look in the end. Now this would require that your stitching is fairly straight, so if you're not quite as confident in that area, here's another option. You can come in and use a zigzag stitch just to drop right. It drops right off into the background, back into the applique, and covers the raw edge all the way around. And you can use a contrasting thread. You could use a more lighter color. In this instance, I used a pink so you could see it, because there's a little bit of hot pink in these blocks. You could also use yellow or white. That's your design option at this point. Then, if you have a machine that does a blanket stitch or a buttonhole stitch, you could set it to do that type of stitch. A little bit more secure, puts a little bit more thread over the edge. Again, you're going to set your machine so that the needle drops off the edge into the background, back into the applique all the way around. And if we want to kick it up a little bit further, we could even use a variegated thread that changes colors. This is a variegated that went from pinks into purples and back again. So you get a little bit of a design choice in how you finish the raw edge of your appliques. Okay, and now that we have our applique blocks ready to go, now it's the layout for the quilt. So we're going to make an applique, place an applique block, a 5-inch square of print, an applique block, and you can see the pattern that's starting to come out just like the quilt behind us. And here is a couple rows that are already constructed. You could have fun with a lot of different kids' prints. I could see a little boy's print being used here, crayon color prints, a lot of fun. So this quilt, finished with a hot pink binding, is ready as a gift. For more of our video tutorials, visit our website. Thanks for joining me.